Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chaz Kayado, and today what I'd like to discuss is the cost of education. And so this kind of plays off of some of the things that I've talked about in previous videos as it pertains to the future of education. And so education has drastically increased in cost over the past few decades. It's vastly outplaced or outpaced rather inflation. And so what I want to discuss today is how I think that that's going to change soon, hopefully for the positive, for the better, and the reasons why I think that might change. And so first and foremost, I want to point out that for colleges, since about 2005, they've known that there was going to be something known as the demographic cliff that was going to happen literally right now. And we're actually seeing it play out. And so, what the demographic cliff is, it was a reduction in the number of 18-year-olds or just high school graduates in general from previous years. So we actually saw, in terms of history of the United States, we saw that the past few years had the most amount of graduating seniors from high school in U.S. history. And it's now slowly working on a decline. And so colleges knew that okay, we're getting a lot of money from tuition and from the federal government based on our tuition packages now, and we're getting as many students in as possible, and we're making really good money. But that money is going to start to dwindle in the near future as students become more sparse, right? As there's a less of a number in students. So this is something that they've known about for years, and we're actually starting to see it play out. So for colleges, they need to become more competitive. So in previous years, with an increasing population, colleges could continue to increase their tuition costs and their fees without little recourse. People across the board would generally say that's just how education is, that's just the cost of college. Well, as we start to see the number of students going to college out of high school drop, and it's not even just because of demographics, there's also the issue of if you look at the polls of graduating seniors, how many of them actually view college as necessary for their career or worth the cost. That is drastically dropping. So you have less people, and then the people that you do have potentially coming in as students, they don't value a college degree like we once did several decades ago. So you have this double whammy that's going to make it difficult for colleges to get new students in. So colleges need to be more competitive when it comes to bringing in their next set of students. And so one thing that I do think we're going to see more of, and I've mentioned it in previous videos, is that I think we're going to see more colleges go after adult learners. Okay, I think that we're going to see more colleges giving credit for life experience. So if you worked in a specific field, you can probably go to that college and test out of some early courses in that specific field because you have the information already. And what will happen is that will reduce the cost overall of your experience in college, because if you can test out of, and I know some colleges accept up to 60 credit hours to be transferred in, but let's just even say just 1 year. If you have 30 hours that you can transfer in, mostly from life experience, then what will happen is that you'll have an entire year worth of college that you do not have to pay for. So significant chunk of your college cost dropped off right there. But I also think that we'll start to see tuition costs level out as schools start to get more competitive with bringing in those students. Because if you're talking about trying to attract more adults, well, adults are going to be a bit more. Um, uh, they're going to need to see the cost benefit of spending tuition money on a specific program, and so many programs right now, adults may just say, well, it's really not worth it. I'm already in my career. What's the point of going back and getting a degree if it's going to put me in debt like I was in my 20s, right? Who wants to do that in their 40s when, who wants to be paying off student loans right as they're entering retirement years? So I really think that the way that schools are going to entice those adult learners is to get them into programs that are less expensive, or just dropping tuition prices overall, or at least pausing them for an extended period of time to allow inflation to do what it will with salaries. So I think that this is something that we're going to see in the future in terms of the costs of education. You have severe demographic issues with many small colleges around the country are struggling right now for students. You're seeing the bigger colleges get bigger, the bigger universities get bigger, and if the bigger universities are getting bigger and there's less people to go around for college, that's really squeezing out some of the smaller colleges and some of the medium-sized colleges. And we're starting to see some small colleges having to either merge with other colleges or shut down completely. And I don't think that's going to change much in the future. There are a few colleges in the online space that are really excelling in terms of getting students in. ASU has done a phenomenal job of getting students online. You have Purdue Global. I believe that there's, I believe Penn State and Maryland have really, and Texas A&M have really popular online programs. And so as you see these big colleges get bigger and attract those adult learners, I think you're going to see some struggles with these smaller colleges. And so colleges in general are going to have to figure out how to function off of a smaller budget. They're going to have to get a little bit leaner, and they're going to have to do that also knowing that they cannot continue to increase the cost of tuition, because I do think that if that doesn't get fixed, between the demographic cliff, changes in the workplace with AI, you could potentially have more people just look to certifications as a means to a career and just forego college, a traditional college experience altogether, which once again, the colleges don't want that. The colleges are entities that need students to survive. So they're going to have to figure out how to make it work. And I think the way they're going to do that is to become smarter with how they're spending their money. And they're going to have to attract new students in. And so you can almost think of it as, if we reduce our costs a bit, but it opens up the door for more students, maybe we can kind of stay, in a net neutral environment in terms of the budget. So this is just some thoughts on the future costs of education. Specifically for universities, high schools are going to be very different for a number of reasons that we could possibly go into for a later video. But I just wanted to bring this up because I do see this in the news more often. That's often discussing the struggles that are that specifically smaller colleges are seeing, and then also the problems that colleges are having getting students right out of high school. So thank you for listening to my video, and have a great day.